Greetings all and welcome to Dave's Craft Room, and on today's video it is time for us to get into Star Wars. My friend Bobert needs a Star Wars quilt, so obviously I'm gonna make the Star Wars quilt. I'm very excited to make this as usual. I've been planning this one for a while, and what I have for supplies is all of these t-shirts, which I've already cut up, the front off, and as well as fabric. So we need to just get started. This is kind of the plan. I have this sheet and with these very striking letters on it of Star Wars, and I think I want to cut these letters out and applique them onto a background made of Star Wars fabric collage. And then that will be like a center band. And then above that, on top and bottom, will be collage of t-shirts and fabric and more applique of, for example, X-Wing fighters and TIE fighters and all that, and then the Death Star. Obviously this sheet is of a certain vintage. That will be included, some of it. So let's get started. I'm gonna hold off on cutting the letters out because once that's done, it's done. We can't go back. So I'm gonna wait. So what I'm gonna get started. I'm gonna cut stuff up, sort things out, and I need to iron on my iron-on interfacing. So that's what I'm gonna be doing now, and we'll check back in later. These are all the t-shirts. I got most of them on eBay and thrift stores. I just searched for anything with Star Wars on it that was cheap. Ooh, I like this. These will be an applique. And then these are the fat quarters. Star Wars fabric is always popular and easy to find, so I just looked for the good deals online. I have my Flexi Fuse fusible web ironed on. It is my favorite brand because it's so thin you can't hardly tell it's there. I cut out the letters with an extra 1/4 inch all the way around so that I can iron that edge over later. I already have an R2D2 here, and that is the better of the two in my opinion. So I'm gonna use this as the background behind there, and it will just look through the letters and all that. So I'm happy with this for now. What we're gonna do is make essentially a quilt within a quilt, using all of this fabric, piece by piece. It's gonna get the letters sewn on top of it, and then these are a bunch of appliques that will get added on later. I'm gonna start with this, build around it. Okay, so that's the game plan right now, is make our background of this quilt within a quilt. Then we'll make I don't know which we'll do first, but we'll do the bottom and the top separate, and that'll be how we assemble the quilt. I'm piecing the central third of the quilt, which I'm calling a quilt within a quilt. I'm just free piecing the Star Wars fabric around the R2D2 block, and then this will serve as the background for the Star Wars letters. I ironed that extra edge over on the back. With the Flexi Fuse on that side, it sticks to itself. I tried the big iron and the tiny iron, and I preferred the tiny iron, so I continued with it. This is my preferred method of doing applique. I've tried the method where you sew a webbing onto the front and then turn it inside out, but every time I try that, I always rip the webbing as I try to turn it right side back out, so I just prefer this way. It works well for me. Also, I don't even have any of that other kind of webbing that you need, so I just prefer the Flexi Fuse. Whether I'm using fusible web or a glue stick is essentially the same technique. Next, I iron it on, and to applique it, I get out my Singer and use a zigzag stitch over the edge. Technically, if you're going to use a zigzag stitch, you don't need to turn the edge over, but this was a bed sheet rather than regular fabric, so I was more concerned about the fraying, and that's why I still turned the edges over and used the zigzag stitch. So this is the quilt within a quilt done, and now we need to piece the top and bottom thirds, and so this is the strategy. They're kind of aligned in columns, so I'm going to piece them into columns and then sew all the columns together. I think this is going to be the longest one, so I'll make sure all the other ones are the same length, and then we do the same thing again on the bottom. Where there's empty spaces, we fill it in with some of this fabric and those. So that's that. Again, I break out the Singer for the zigzag. I have a basic Singer model that I pretty much only use for the zigzag stitch because my Brother PQ 1500 SL doesn't have a zigzag stitch. I still have not found my perfect machine that has everything. Until Bernina sponsors me and I can actually afford one, I'm doing it this way. This is the final result. I had to finish it quickly because I was about to see Bobert at a picnic and I wanted to present it to him at the picnic. So I'm happy to report that Bobert liked the quilt very much. And if you like this video, please like and subscribe to my channel. Thank you for coming to Dave's Craft Room, and please come again.